Hello, welcome to Gurukul's CAT 100 series, a series that's designed specifically to take you from your study room to the corporate boardroom. I am Prady Sharma and this is Verbal Mastery with Prady.
Hello everyone, welcome back to day 86 of our 100 days to CAT test series. Now, this is the passage for today. In case you want to take this up as a test, all you've got to do is go on to www.thegurukul.org.in and sign up for the 100 days to CAT test series. If you want to follow along with this video, then this will be the first part of your passage. Please pause the video here, read this part, and then we'll move on to the second part of the passage. This will be the second part of your passage. Pause the video, read this part, and then we're going to go into the questions for the passage. This is your question number 1. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll move into the question number 2. This is question number 2. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll go into the question number 3. This is question number 3. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll move on to the last question for the day. Now this is question number 4. Pause the video here, answer this question, and then we'll move into the passage and question explanations. The passage says the US population is going grey. What do we mean by going grey? It means it is very aging. Okay, it means it's aging a lot. Okay, so the US population is aging. A rising demographic tide of aging baby boomers, those who are born between 1946 and 1964, and increased longevity have made adults age 65 and older the fastest growing segment of today's population. So what do I understand from here? People above 65, okay, the number of people above 65 is increasing very much. Okay, so that is what I get from here. In 30 years, this segment of the population will be nearly twice as large as it is today, and by then an estimated 70 million people will be over age 65. The number of oldest old, those age 85 and older, is 34 times greater than 1900 and likely to expand 5-fold by 2050. So again, with the help of these comparative numbers, he's just showing us how much of a bigger problem or bigger segment these older people would make of this population. Right, this unprecedented elder boom will have a profound effect on the American society, particularly in the field of healthcare. So now he's bringing in the thing about healthcare. He's bringing in the idea of healthcare and what will be the repercussions that this segment of ever growing adults be on the healthcare. Is the US healthcare system equipped to deal with the demands of an aging population? Although we have adequate physicians and nurses, many of them are not trained to handle multiple needs of old patients. Today we have about 9,000 geriatricians. Who are these geriatricians? The physicians who are experts in aging related issues. So old age doctors who treat patients of old age are geriatricians. Some studies estimate that there's a need for 36,000 geriatricians by 2030. So now over here, what we see that we already have enough number of doctors and nurses, but they're not very equipped to deal with older individuals. In fact, the number of doctors who are required to deal with these older individuals is estimated at 4-fold than what it is today. Many doctors today treat a patient of 75 the same way they would treat a 40-year-old patient. However, although seniors are healthier than ever, physical challenges often increases with age. By age 75, adults often have 2 to 3 medical conditions. Diagnosing multiple health problems and knowing how they interact is crucial for effectively treating older patients. So what do I get from here? I get to see the idea that okay, a lot of doctors are still treating people who are extremely old as they treat middle-aged people. And one more thing is that old age people have multiple complexities, multiple disorders which might be there together, and understanding, identifying those is the challenge. Alright, so healthcare professionals, often pressed for time in the hectic daily practices, must be diligent about asking questions and collecting evidence from their elderly patients. Finding about a patient's over-the-counter medications or living conditions could reveal an underlying problem. So healthcare professionals like doctors, nurses, whoever is in the healthcare system, they need to spend considerable amount of time to understand the living conditions and the medications and the practices of these elderly people, because that might give us a clue about what kind of medical conditions they have. Now let's go to the next part of the passage. Lack of training in geriatric issues can result in healthcare providers overlooking illness or conditions that may lead to illness. Inadequate nutrition is a common but often unrecognized problem among frail seniors. Who are these frail seniors? Vulnerable seniors. So what's he saying? Yes, people, if they're the nurses and doctors, if they're not adequately trained, if they're not trained enough, they might not ask certain questions, or they might look over certain conditions that these old people have, because of which they will not be able to diagnose a illness properly. Also, one of the main reasons or one of the common reasons of problems in adults is inadequate nutrition. An elderly patient who has difficulty preparing meals at home may become vulnerable to malnutrition or other medical conditions. Healthcare providers with training in aging issues may be able to address this problem without the costly solution of admitting a patient to a nursing home. So what do we see? People who are actually trained, right? They know that these kind of problems exist. So they will definitely ask the older person, and they'll be able to tackle these kind of problems way better than normal people. Normal doctors and physicians and nurses, what would they do? They would want to send this older patient to a nursing home instead of actually looking at the root cause of the problem. Depression, a treatable condition that affects nearly 5 million seniors, also goes undetected by some healthcare providers. Some healthcare professionals view depression as just part of getting old. Untreated, this illness can have serious, even fatal consequences. So basically, another problem that the author is trying to highlight is about depression. Now, depression is something that is very treatable if caught on, but a lot of doctors, they just think that depression is something that is common with old age. It's a consequence of old age, and that is why they put no efforts into treating it. Now, depression could be fatal, especially according to the National Institute of Mental Health. Older Americans account for a disproportionate share of suicide deaths, making up 18% of suicide deaths in 2000. That means a lot of older adults actually commit suicide. Healthcare providers could play a pivotal role in preventing this outcome. Several studies have shown that up to 75% of seniors who die by suicide visited a primary care physician within a month of their death. That means a lot of these physicians and all, had they taken out the time to understand why the older adult is depressed and spent some considerable resources into treating that depression, these older adults probably would not have died. 75% of all these older adults who committed suicide, they actually went to a doctor 1 month before their death. That means if it was caught on by these doctors, things probably would have been extremely different for those older adults. Healthcare providers face additional challenges to providing high quality care to the aging population because the numbers of ethnic minority elders are growing faster than aging populations as a whole. Providers must train to care for a more racially and ethnically diverse population of elderly. Respect and understanding of diverse cultural beliefs is necessary to provide the most effective healthcare to all patients. Now, what's he saying over here? Here he's trying to say that, overall, racial minorities and ethnically diverse people who are coming into the US, the people who are older amongst them are also increasingly more than the normal white US population or white US old people. So, doctors now have a new challenge of having to train themselves racially and ethnically to believe, to learn about the beliefs and the cultures of different people so that they could provide accurate care to all of their patients. Providers must also be able to communicate complicated medical conditions or treatments to older patients who may have a visual, hearing or cognitive impairment. As older adults make up an increasing proportion of healthcare caseload, the demand for aging specialists must expand as well. Healthcare providers who work with the elderly must understand and address not only the physical but mental, emotional and social changes of the aging process. They need to be able to distinguish between normal characteristics associated with aging and illness. So basically what is happening over here, communicating with the older patients, okay, and being able to tell the older patients about their own disease actually being able to explain them about their own disease is in fact a challenge because of the different types of deficits that they might have. They might have mental deficits, emotional deficits, cognitive deficits, so they might not be able to understand what they're going through very well, which is why we need proper training and we need to have a good number of physicians and nurses who can actually care for the older population. Now that we've understood the passage, let's get into the questions. So the question number 1 says the author implies that doctors who treat an elderly patient the same as they would, a 40-year-old patient. So what would, the doctors do if they are the kind of a doctor who would treat 75-year-old and 40-year-old equally? Provide equitable high quality care? Probably not, because what is equitable high quality care for 70-year-olds is very different from what it is for 40-year-olds. So A will not be my answer. Avoid detrimental stereotypes about older patients. See, again, we've not talked about, detrimental stereotypes at all for older patients till now in the passage. So let's not go out of the scope. This will definitely be an out of scope choice. 3, encourage middle-aged adults to think about the long-term effects of their habits. Now see, obviously I don't think that they would be encouraging middle-aged adults, because this question is all about, what would these doctors do? And we've not talked about, middle-aged patients and what a doctor would do with them. So this again does not come into the scope of my discussion. 4, do not offer the most effective care to their older patients. Obviously, see, if you're not able to consider that a person is 75-year-old and he has to be treated as a 75-year-old, obviously you're not giving him good amount of care. So the best possible answer becomes 4. Now let's go into the second question. According to the passage, which of the following is not a possible benefit of geriatric training for healthcare providers? So there should be 3 benefits and 1 that is not a benefit. Improved ability to explain a medical treatment to a person with cognitive problem. Yes, see, in the last part of the passage we've seen that normal doctors are not able to actually communicate with their patients. Someone with a training probably would. So this is a benefit. That is why this is not going to be my answer for which is not a possible benefit. Second one, knowledge of how heart disease and diabetes may act upon each other in an elderly patient. Yes, we've seen that elderly patients have multiple types of diseases all together at once. So this would be a definite benefit. They would get to know how these two things act together if they had taken the training. So this should not be my answer. Improved ability to attribute disease symptoms to the natural changes of aging. Now see, you don't need special training to just dismiss a symptom as a natural thing for aging, right? So obviously this is not a benefit. Yes, this is in fact more of bias. Fourth one, more consideration for ways to improve the quality of life for seniors. Now obviously if you are taking some training to deal, especially deal with seniors, you would have some kind of a knowledge by which you would be able to improve their quality of life. That's a given. So this is also a benefit, so it won't be my correct answer. So the best possible answer would be 3. Now let's go for the third question. The author implies that a healthcare system that routinely looks beyond symptoms is one that. So what would be a characteristic of a healthcare system that really looks beyond symptoms? Okay, intrudes on the private lives of individuals. Now, it does not really intrude on the private lives of the individuals. It's just wanting to see beyond the symptoms. Are there any other living conditions or something that you are looking that actually are causing your problem? So it's not an intrusion per se. So it's not going to be the correct answer. Considers more than just the physical aspects of a person. Yes, obviously, if it's not just the symptoms, you're looking at other things, maybe the mental, emotional, environmental aspects. So you are definitely looking for more than just the physical aspects. So this seems like a good answer. Rivals the social welfare system. Again, we've not been told about how social welfare system functions and all. So let's not get into any assumptions. Fourth one, misdiagnosis diseases that are common in the elderly. Now see, if you are looking for more information to actually target and get to know what a disease is that the elderly is facing, why would you be misdiagnosing diseases if you're looking for more? So this is an opposite answer. So the best possible answer now becomes 2. Let's go to the last question of this passage. In the last paragraph of the passage, the author's tone is one off. Now see, in the last paragraph of the passage, the author is trying to convince us that people would actually need, or the doctors and nurses would actually need geriatric training. Correct? So he's kind of cautious. He's trying to give us some kind of a suggestion. He's trying to bring our attention towards something. That's what's happening over here, right? So unmitigated pessimism. The author's not being pessimistic. He's not thinking that everything is going down, everything is bad. That's not what he's thinking. So I can remove 1. Personal reticence. Personal reticence means being extremely reserved, and also we see that the author is not really being reserved. He is in fact giving recommendations, he's giving suggestions and all as to what needs to be done by the doctors. So 2 is also not going to be our answer. Hypocritical indifference. No, see, definitely the author is not indifferent. The passage is an argumentative passage, so it's not going to be hypocritical indifference. Urgent recommendation. Yes, he's clearly saying that, you know, we need to do certain things so that we take care of our elderly population better. So I feel that the best possible answer is 4. Now, if you watch this video till here, please do not forget to hit that like button, because that motivates us a lot to keep bringing videos like this for you every single day. Share this video with a friend who's preparing for CAT 2025 and help them prepare well. I'll see you in the next video.
Hope you enjoyed learning from today's session.
This series is designed to help you with your CAT preparation and practice daily. We are with you in this journey.
To watch the next video, click here. And to watch Gurukul's CAT 100 series, study room to boardroom, the entire playlist, click here.
If you learned from today's session, like, share, and subscribe.